Jealousy does not in their heart, will not have room for jealousy or envy or resentment or ill feeling toward anyone. Love looks through a telescope. Jealousy looks through a microscope. Makes everything bigger than it is. And the second point is anger. You may be an angry person. Anger may be your temptation. And isn't that a terrible reason to nag your husband because he's made you angry about something? Chances are you don't even remember what you were angry about, do you? I know one time, years ago, I got so angry with my husband about something. As the days went by, I kept trying to think, now what was it? What was it that I was angry with him about? And I thought, oh, forget it. You know, just forget it. Sometimes we say, oh boy, am I going to make him sorry he did that? A broken bone can heal, but the wound a word opens can fester forever. I'll give you some points to overcome anger. Do your best to avoid any situation that may lead to anger. Colossians 3:8 says, put off all these. And anger and a number of other things are given. But anger is the first one that God tells us to avoid. And then when you feel anger coming on, move slowly. James 1:19 says, let every man be slow to wrath. Don't ever let anger build up in you. Because when it does, it becomes a storm. It'll just erupt at any time. If you go to bed at night and you're so angry about something that's happened during the day, get rid of it. Don't go to bed with your anger. Because if you wake up the next morning, the first thing you think about is that anger, then that could erupt at any time and cause much damage to you and to the person with whom you're angry. Then practice the art of controlling your temper. Do you know you can do that? You can control your temper. I know sometimes I've heard people say, oh, I just have this terrible temper and I can't control it. Yes, you can. You can. You pray about it and ask God to remove that angry spirit from you. God will do it. Proverbs 16:32 says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. So you need to get rid of that anger. And do not allow anger to lead you to sin. Ephesians 4:26 says, be ye angry and sin not. Do not nurse anger. Ephesians 4:26 says, let not the sun go down on your wrath. So when you're angry, get over it. It'll never go away if you nurse it and feed it. And then the third thing is an unforgiving spirit. Do you have an unforgiving spirit? Is there anybody that you still have not forgiven? Paul writes in Ephesians 4:32, and be ye kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. Do you know there's a forgiveness principle in that? Forgiveness is the basic principle upon which the Christian faith is founded. And this is it. God forgives us. We forgive others. Forgiveness has to be in accord with biblical principles. What should you forgive? Anything and everything that's done to you. How often should you forgive? Jesus said in Matthew 18:22, forgive 70 times 7. That means a numberless time. Well, I thought absolutely nothing about it because it didn't have anything to do with this man. But I could see that he'd been a good friend to me, but I could see he was totally estranged from me. He wouldn't speak to me at church, and I kept telling my husband, well, we have to talk to this man. I said, there's some reason why, and I said, and I think the reason is because I saw his face when he walked in. I said, he thinks when he walked into the room and we laughed that we were laughing at him. of not forgiving. What happens if you don't forgive? Failure to forgive results in very serious consequences. It's very unwholesome and unholy for a Christian to have personal enemies and hold grudges against anybody. It's not only unhealthy, it's unspiritual. Gives you high blood pressure. And, you have temper flares when you don't forgive. If you're angry with your husband, haven't forgiven him, or with your children, or with anybody, you cannot live a fulfilled Christian life. Another consequence is, if you have not forgiven, you have no freedom to worship if you're not willing to forgive. Matthew 5:23 and 24 tells us that. And then you have no freedom.
To drive out the Israelis. Instead of wasting a considerable number of men in battle, the Philistines sent out a giant of a man who would have made Magic Johnson look like a midget. Well, almost a midget. Goliath never played basketball, but a slam dunk to him would have been an underarm shot. According to the record, he was at least 9 feet tall. Now, if you know the story, you remember that
the gospel of Christ. For it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone who believes. Don't be embarrassed to let people know that you are a Christian. No matter if other kids make fun of you or if they're really interested in knowing more about God, I hope you'll tell them that Jesus loves them. Because it's the right thing to do. And also because it's true. Paul didn't wimp out when he had a chance to talk to Carl about his faith, did he? He sure was not ashamed. Let me repeat something Paul said. I know my mom and dad were praying for me not to win, but to have a good attitude.
The Captain's Club is a radio presentation of the Bible Broadcasting Network.
The Storytime feature that you heard on the Captain's Club today was produced years ago by Children's Bible Hour of Grand Rapids, Michigan, now known as Keys for Kids Ministries, and is no longer in production. BBN has special permission to air these classic programs featuring Uncle Charlie. If you'd like to connect with Keys for Kids Ministries, you can write them at Keys for Kids Ministries, Box 1001, Grand Rapids, Michigan 49501, or online at keysforkids.org.
Often I've watched the clouds up in the sky. Always I heard they were many miles high. Then as they sailed out of sight far away, I said I'm going far higher someday. I'm going higher, yes, higher someday. I'm going higher to stay. Over the clouds and beyond the blue sky, going where none ever sicken or die. Loved ones to meet in the sweet by and by. I'm going higher someday. Moses went up in the mountain to pray. Glory came down, well alone there he stayed. But he came back, he just went there to pray.